It's important to remember I'm the hero here, guys.
We could not be complete, more opposite.
You're the Southern girl. I'm the Northeastern guy. You're the family girl. You're the mother. You're the wife. I'm the single dude. Yeah, whatever. If you came out there and you were talking about men are evil, suck as much dick as you can, kill your babies, yay, government, you'd probably be on Fallon.
Everyone's a victim!
Welcome back to another Gerard versus Evil. I'm Gerard Michaels, your host. Brought to you by TelyRx.com. That's TelyRx.com. Use code SNT for 20% off all your prescription needs. Telehealth, you'll never have to look at the condescending eye of the doctor ever again, or the pharmacist for that matter. Lower prices, less invasive. TelyRx.com. Use code SNT for 20% off that Ozempic, that Trizepatide, maybe a little Rogaine, maybe some of them little late-night blue pills. Never come up short again, fellas. And, if you're doing some of that, you probably have some bumps and bruises, rashes, and little red dots to get rid of. And wouldn't you know it? TelyRx.com has pills and creams for everything. Use code S&T. Thank us later. And with that, I am honored to bring on Christian best-selling author. One of my absolute favorite human beings on planet Earth, my sister from another mister, a best-selling author, national headline comedian, over 1 billion views online, probably the most underrated and disrespected comedian in the game today. Should be an international megastar, but is afraid of travel and would rather make sandwiches at home for her kids. The one, the only, Carolanne Miljavac.
That's the way he introduces me at our shows as well. Aside from the laying on her back comment you like to make.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky.
A possum. What is it?
Yeah, as you spend more time on your back than a drunk turtle. I tell all the people that they're lucky that they came to this show because you never know when you're going to get prego again. We've had, 3 tours canceled, 2 tours? What we got?
No, I do believe I
you had one tour completely canceled, and then you just took that sex trophy on the road with you there.
I did. I took that baby. You're just mad because he hated you.
Oh, man. He did not. I don't know hated. I'm pretty sure he hates me. Yeah, that's your dog. Your dog hates me.
Oh.
Dog hates me. The only dog on earth that's ever not loved me. I feel like I was a dog in a past life, and if I'm good in this life, I'll be a dog
dogs
again.
Love me. Everyone knows it.
You
want to do it.
Everyone says, I don't say, everyone says dogs love this guy the most. That dog does not love me.
No, she doesn't. But you tried to forcefully.
I did. I tried to
force her to love you.
I thought she would love me.
She's a Labradoodle too, and y'all know Labradoodles love everybody. And she hates you.
Hates my guts.
So much so.
Oh boy.
Gerard, how fun has it been touring with someone who lives such a different life than you?
Oh boy.
Gerard, we had a show in Kansas City. I'm local to Kansas City. By grace, I'm so gracious, and I let you stay in our basement.
That's right.
And
let me sleep on the couch in your basement.
Which you love.
I loved it.
You love saving money.
Oh, it was great.
And Gerard's just a fluffy cuddle buddy with a pup, and we have a Labradoodle who is that doodle. She will hug you. She will hold you and nuzzle her little head under your chin. And she didn't want nothing to do with you.
Of Satan.
That
thing growled. I was sleeping on the couch downstairs.
She made it clear how she felt about you. Yeah. And in typical man fashion, you said, just let me hug you. And then you stormed your big self down my tiny hall with your arms open, like the Kool-Aid man, just busting towards her and tried to force. He picked her up. Yep. He picked her up. And she proceeded to shoot diarrhea all over my house.
She helicopter shit all over this poor woman's house.
Everywhere.
This woman has 4 kids. And a brand new baby.
I had a baby. I had one of those massive, you make
playpen crib.
Yeah. It's like a on the ground playpen with the alphabet mats on the floor and all his toys.
Brand new.
Covered.
Yep.
In diarrhea.
That's
covered.
Right.
Just sprayed. I mean, it's like projectile shat all over my house.
Have me over your house. I'm available for kids' parties. Now, the worst part about it is, and this was after a night of the kids screaming and 4 different volumes of age, and I had to remind myself as there was nothing but kids running, and you were just death staring me as we were both on our hands and knees cleaning this Labrapoopy.
No, I was like panicked trying to gather all the toys and put them in the bathtub.
Yeah, we had to disinfect your entire house.
Meanwhile, my baby is in a cornered in by the furniture, so he can't move or touch anything, screaming his head off.
And I am the entire time as I'm on my hands and knees cleaning off dog poop from baby toys, reciting to myself, "You're a single man, you live in Florida. You're a single man, you live in Florida."
I'm behind you with a Swiffer.
You're like, "This is what it's like."
So much. I hate you so much.
Dude, it was a fever dream. It was a fever dream. And I was like, "This is not my house. This is not my beautiful car. How did I get here?"
You got a taste of domestication.
Yeah, I did. And I got to tell you,
spit it out.
That's all I needed. That was a commitment Ozempic for me. Was like that was a commitment vaccine.
Yeah, so now you know what I'm dealing with while you're all constantly, "Why don't you work harder? Why don't you get on the road more?"
Should. I would do anything I could to get out of there. I'd be like, "Babe,
to take care of.
Gotta go on the road again." Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, it's remarkable that you've been able to do all you've been able to do while you're maintaining that household. You know, and there's nothing, all jokes aside, there's nothing on earth you can do that's as important as being a mother. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're a great mother. You're raising 4 great kids. And, you know, the comedy and the entertainment industry in general is very difficult.
Yeah, well, and I didn't know, you know, I'm still really new to it, you know, and what most people, especially your viewers, don't even know that you've been with me since day 1.
Literally.
Day the very
1. And this is an anniversary of that because we're in Nashville on the road right now. You have a show in Nashville, Zanies, one of the best clubs on earth, and you're gracious enough to let me guest for you. And it's the very first show you ever did was at Zanies in Nashville, completely packed house.
Yeah. I didn't even at the time have a clue like what a big deal that was.
Huge.
You know, no idea what was happening. It was just this whirlwind. I had never done stand up. Mm-hmm. I mean, what I had done was created humor and, you know, I've written bits and jokes and performed them in my car, you know, and did a video, but I had never done anything in front of a live audience. And so Zanies, Nashville was the very first time I did stand-up ever. And you were my feature act.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of originally like your handler. Like they were like, you know, like let's see how this goes.
When she freaks out and panics and runs off stage.
Let's see how this goes, man. You know, and
80 minutes later.
Yeah, dude. And I, you know, you were doing your thing, but you were like also like very. And it turned out to be correctly skeptical of the whole situation.
Yes.
And but it's crazy, you know. I didn't know what to expect. We had gone through so many of these like YouTubers or whatever you want to call them, where you'd have, I mean, this sounds condescending, but you'd have like a real comedian or 2 comedians, and then you'd have a YouTuber that was the headliner because they could sell a bunch of tickets. And then you hope that would be enough that everybody, you know, didn't leave horrible Yelp reviews and we could keep the gravy train rolling for one whole tour because, you know, nobody will ever come to see this sideshow ever again. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was kind of my gig, you know, coming from New York was like hopping on these YouTube shows, you know, because I'm kind of funny and I can read a room and it doesn't matter which audience it is. I can find out a way to connect with that audience, right?
But the thing that you knew too, though, was you had I don't think people understand how different stand-up comedy is than creating sketches or, you know, even just telling funny stories
for sure
online.
And that's what I was getting towards. So you know, you kind of have, you know, it was originally like guys like me, I think Rocky Dale Davis did a couple with Darren, and like, you know, they kind of had this idea where it was like professional quote unquote comedians, and then the YouTuber that was the sell, was the draw, and most of them are just really, really bad, and it's something that you know now that you've been doing this, it's kind of like a bad thing in the industry to be thought of as like a YouTuber or like a social media star, like.
Even still, sometimes I'll have a club put in the corner of my poster, YouTuber. which first of all, I don't even upload anything on
You're
YouTube.
You're a Facebooker. You're a TikToker.
But yeah, it actually drove me nuts because one thing that might be different about me than maybe someone who really all their focus was going viral on social media, and then they just ended up getting to take it to a stage, which is also awesome. Mm-hmm. But I had loved and studied and just been enthralled in stand-up comedy since I was little. Mm-hmm. So I came into it knowing what a big deal it is to have the honor to do stand-up.
My expectations were so low.
Yeah, I know.
I see this middle-aged mother, and I'm like, what are we doing here?
I wasn't that middle-aged at the time.
No, you were. Well,
I was way younger.
Thanks to the wonders of science, you're probably quarter age now at the time. You're going to live to be like 140. But within 5 minutes, I was like, what are we watching here? This is different. And then by 10 minutes, I was like, oh, my God, she's a superstar. This is insane. It's like watching somebody that come right up to the big leagues, to use a baseball reference, like skip single A, skip double A, skip triple A, go from high school straight to the big leagues, and then go like 4 for 5 with 2 home runs in their first game. And it's like, this is not normal. This is abnormal. Like, you crushed 70 minutes. You probably were going so fast that it was 90 minutes of material in 70 minutes.
Adrenaline.
You got multiple applause breaks. You got a standing ovation at the end in one of the best clubs in.
Yeah, and sold out too for my first show.
Yeah,
it was like
upper deck the whole nine, standing room only.
Yeah, there was no, let's do a little show to get you used to this. It was straight out the gate. You got a headline, I sold out.
Yeah, and it was so much different than anything I had ever seen, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm looking at greatness. This is greatness," and it's never stopped. You've been better and better and better every time. And the hardest thing in this business is to sell tickets, and the second hardest thing in this business is to be funny. And you sell tickets and you're funny, and it's and it's something that you've never. A lot of us, it sucks grinding through what you'll call, like I call the minor leagues of comedy. Like it sucks doing 5-minute, 10-minute sets, New York, 5-6 different clubs, 5 nights. But also, it's also freeing once you get over that hump where you're going to keep getting booked because you can try stuff and it doesn't matter. You can bomb. Who cares? Nobody even remembers my name. From day one, people have been buying tickets to see you. You couldn't really experiment very far. You had pressure on you to deliver from the very first moment you stepped on stage.
Yeah, and I felt that pressure. I think the first few shows, it was just a straight adrenaline. I'm just gonna run out there and what happens, and it was fun or whatever. But then, after a few shows, I started to really think about what I wanted the set to be and what I wanted the show to be, and what purpose I wanted it to have. And I had this really high standard of, if I was going to do this, I wanted to be known as a stand-up and not just a funny mom. And I also didn't want to be known just as a mom. I have a whole lot of other things about my life than motherhood that are also funny. And so, there was, I have so much respect for comedians, and this too. So this was something else to struggle with. I didn't want all the other comedians to be mad that I get to do stand-up shows. I wanted to prove myself.
Yeah, little did you know there's no way not to make other comedians mad or jealous.
Yeah. But because I have so much respect for that grind though. I've watched every stand-up documentary there is. And I mean, probably one reason why I didn't pursue it was because I just thought, I don't have the life where I can put that kind of time into it.
I remember after Huntsville, and there's nothing harder, I think, in comedy than playing a home audience. Like my home audience is always the hardest because people know you and they know you, and you don't get to take the same artistic liberties with your stories. They know you, and it's.
And they don't think you're, and they might not even think you're funny.
They don't think you're funny.
Right?
Yeah, because you've
got people looking at you like, what are you doing?
Exactly. They don't know the character. Yeah. They know you, and as much as we are ourselves, and we are both very, very authentic comedians. There's some comedians that aren't authentic. I think with both you and I, what you see is what you get. This is who we are. But it's turned up to 11.
Right.
So
you get to be the most real version of yourself that exists.
The most ridiculous too.
But the funny thing is that the people who I'm close with know me like that. You know, my family and close friends, they're not surprised by anything I'm doing on stage or facial expressions. And I do have moments where I try to be that person, you know, in a social situation, and it doesn't go well. It's not well received.
Well, Mickey's actually said something really funny on Slick and Thick that I thought was very insightful. And he goes, if you know 100 people, they have 100 different versions of you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the truth. Like, you are, in your mind, you're you. But then if you break it down, okay, there's the athlete you, there's the mother you, there's the fun you, there's the, you know, party you.
Well, I'm quiet. I'm pretty quiet, really. Most people who find out I'm a comedian back home right now are absolutely shocked. The pickleball group couldn't believe it. You know, they were like, you don't even talk.
Yeah, you have a very, you have a certain Christian severity about you.
What's that mean?
In a different world, you are a nun running a school, and you have a look about you. You have a, hey, we're at the table. Hands off. Like, you have a very, very, very specific way, but it's so great. But it's not. No,
I think it's a sign if you're comfortable with someone or not. You know, I know, like, when I'm comfortable with people, that side's out immediately, and I'm so relieved that it gets to be. But I'm typically uncomfortable for a while until I get to know somebody.
Yeah, that is true. You're like overly nice in the beginning. Like, you know, the waitress gets the wrong order and, you know, dips a cigarette in your drink. You're like, it's okay. I'll take care of it.
Yeah. 50% tip for you. I used to be a waitress, so
we really are. We are in so many ways polar opposites. We were an odd couple in so many different ways to be put together on a show. You know, the loud, brash, offensive,
so loud
city guy, brash. And you are the thoughtful, you know, smart, funny,
really quiet.
Well, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's like very demure.
That is the only time I've been called that.
No. Well, you're the Southern girl. I'm the Northeastern guy. You're the family girl. You're the mother. You're the wife. I'm the single dude. Yeah, whatever. So, let's go with that.
You should have seen. Okay, it's funny you said that because I was thinking about that. How we could not be complete. Like, more opposite. I don't think it would be possible to find two human beings more opposite. But what we have in common is humor. And our personalities we both see humor in the exact same things, and we're both comfortable with who we are. And so I think that dynamic works really well because it's like, you know, when you're hanging out with your friends, like you're really close friends, and y'all are laughing so hard, and everything you're doing is so funny, and you do think if this was on camera, everyone would think we were so funny. That's the dynamic we have. 100%. You know what I mean? Yeah. We
just miss Bean Dip right now, but yeah,
right.
Yeah, and we also have like that. I think you're remarkably funny. And you think you're remarkably funny in common. So we have that as the basis for our...
I won't say it out loud.
No, it's actually the opposite. You're so hard on yourself. I don't think sometimes you think you deserve the success that you've had.
I think it's very... everyone's just... everyone thinks of themselves as just like, you know, a normal person that's just doing normal day-to-day life things, which is what I was doing. And... you know, like with my story, I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was trying to make some money on the side by being a Beachbody coach. So
that's right. You got the salt and pepper was your first viral video, right?
And that was a Beachbody challenge on my team. Mama got her body back doing Insanity after my
So you have multi-level marketing to thank for your success.
Yeah.
And people say pyramid schemes are bad.
No, well, and before that, like when I was pregnant with my first and second babies, there's so many, I was doing outside sales. I was walking door to door. Literally.
You were
all
pregnant.
Day, all day. And
walking door to door.
Yeah. And I sold out every day. I mean, I highly suggest if you're doing outside sales door to door, get pregnant and do it up until the 9th month. You will sell out every day, I got hit on a lot.
What?
A lot.
You got hit on doing that?
Well,
they know you put out.
They know I'll let you. It's free.
Yeah, they know there's no condom. No condom involved. How bad what were you selling? How bad do you want to sell that Costco membership? Sure, I could use another vacuum.
No,
what were you selling? Windows?
Oh my! No, I worked for a company called Smart Circle, which there's probably so many people in my age range that just got triggered by that word, because it was a big company in Birmingham, Alabama at the time, and we would sell these certificates to like discount. They were actually, some of them were really good deals. So like
Smart Circle, why are you not sponsoring this girl? Like, what are you talking
about?
I
don't even know if it still exists. I mean, it's an actual MLM. Like, it is a scheme. Like, but
and just like that, the sponsorship disappears.
It is though, and I've gone to bat actually defending Beachbody a little bit because it's not quite the same as, because I've done both. But
it's not a pyramid. No, you don't understand. First, you ever see The Office?
It's not. No, I can break it down for you. If there was a board, I could write the algorithm. I could tell you it's not. But so I would. I was so desperate to make money because I got pregnant. I graduated college, had the time of my life for a few months, and got pregnant. So I deserved it. I worked really hard for that degree. And then I got pregnant. And then I remember I was looking through the newspaper like people used to do. And I saw this. It said marketing. And I'm good at marketing. You know, I'm good with people usually. And so I circled that. I went in and I had no idea that it was going to be me actually being outside all day, every day, walking literally door to door. With whatever product they gave me that day. And this is probably where some of the improv comes in, is I had to, you know, on the spot, think of ways to get whoever's business I just walked into not to immediately throw me out.
This is in Birmingham, Alabama?
Yeah. And I would be walking up and down.
How Bessemer, many guns did you have on you?
Yeah. No, I'm walking around with a manila folder full of cash from all my sales. Totally fine. It was fine. You know how many houses I went in? Where people just said, you want to come in? And I just did. Like, living on, you can't do that now. You can't do that anymore. Yeah. But I was pregnant, I had a baby on the way. I had to make $100 a day, period.
That's it.
So I was working 7 days a week.
OnlyFans didn't exist. Couldn't be taking feet pics out there.
Oh, belly pics would have. I would be a millionaire.
Is that a thing? Like, these guys are really into the pregnancy thing, huh?
It makes sense, does it not? Because like fertility. It's a term, like, you're genetically wired to stay fertile.
To me, that's like the guys who drive around looking at other people's houses. It's like, bro, that's not yours.
Well, obviously, yeah, it's not yours. Yeah. But for some men, they see something that's not theirs and they want it even more.
Yeah, I suppose. That's true. That's very true. Yeah. I won't buy it, but maybe she'll let me rent it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. So you did a Beachbody challenge, and I mean, look, you're remarkably funny, and I was just so impressed with your stage presence. You're. And I know you hate this, but especially for a woman, like, you didn't use any of the crutches and all these cliches and all these other things, and genuinely, genuinely funny, and respectful of the art to the point where you crushed a show in Huntsville where
second show
where you had to overcome you got hazed. You got hazed by other comics.
I didn't know I was getting hazed.
You got hazed.
I didn't know.
And I almost threw hands because I did know.
You did know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, like, so you were there as you had so much experience, you know, in the industry and doing stand up and working with other comedians. I had, zero. All I knew was I wanted to do stand up.
You had a local comedian's family come into your green room and take a shit before you went on stage.
Yeah.
And I was so furious.
And bring their entire entourage into like, right before I was about to go on.
That's correct.
Basically squeeze my family out.
Yes. Of your green room.
Of my green room.
And you didn't know enough at the time to be like,
no.
Get.
No, I mean, I was still like, hi, I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you.
And then you went out and you absolutely crushed.
What's funny is I did have, like, dang near a panic attack right before that one. I was in the bathroom, like, hyperventilating.
Me and you were outside talking. They were in what's our green room, and we're out back like, let's everybody calm down.
Yeah, I had to tell my sister to come in and, like, just be with me for a minute. Yeah. And I think you got everyone kicked out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Time to go.
Like you do.
Let's go. I was very nice about it, I thought. Get the fuck out of here.
you were nice. But yeah, that was the second show. That was
right.
Zanies was the first one. Huntsville was the second one.
Is that right? And then after that, you crushed.
That is a show I'll never forget.
You absolutely crushed. And
Which
I
is
didn't know how it was
wild.
going to go.
Weird.
Yeah. And the crowd was rowdy. They had been drinking, you know, because, you know, they were out there ready to go.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then after that, you had a little party. There was people there to party with you, and you were writing bits. Yeah. After that, you sat down, you busted out a pad.
I found where I belong, and I knew that. Like with Zanies, I think probably just the overwhelmingness of it being the first show and the first time I'd ever done it and all the adrenaline. Like I obviously had a great time, but I think that all of everything, just the energy, probably I almost felt like I blacked out, you know? And then with Huntsville, there was a moment in Huntsville, and I don't even know what I said. I have no idea. But the entire room erupted at the same time. And to this day, it might be the biggest laugh I've ever gotten. I don't even know. But I just remember I felt it actually hit my body. You know, like I felt the wind of all these laughs. I felt the stage like shake. It was just like an eruption of laughter. And I don't even know how to explain. It makes me want to cry when I think about it because that moment I was like, this is it for me. Like I'm never doing anything else. I was born for this. Like clearly there's no other way to explain it. And I knew that too because I knew, you know, some of my story, but
well, assume none of my listeners do. So for those that don't know, we know how the story ends. Me and you were touring and all this other stuff.
5 years later.
5 years later. But in the beginning, your career is spawned out of the most painful moment of your life.
Yeah.
And you lost your niece to a devastating battle with cancer.
Yeah.
And from that experience and from the incredible pain your entire family suffered, you then dedicated your life to trying to spread joy.
Yeah. Which, you know, I grew up in a small little country town in Alabama. We were definitely lower class. It's taken me all this time to just get lower middle. I've been working hard.
Welcome. Water's warm.
I really
miss one paycheck and you're right back.
I kind of enjoy the stress of it, you know.
Yeah, keeps you on the edge.
It really does.
Where you got to be.
I thrive in chaos. But you know, we grew up with so many hardships, and I can even tell you, as a little girl, I just kind of felt like the position we were in as a family and the status we held and the struggles we had, it just didn't feel like it was meant for me. As a child, I didn't know why. It just felt like this isn't going to be what my life is. Yeah. Does God know I'm not black? Oh my gosh. All my neighbors were. No.
You're Cherokee though, so I don't know.
Well, you know, we lived in a trailer park where it was one of those trailer parks that you drive by and you're like, you don't want to go in there.
I'm just trying to get on Kill Tony.
Right. Well,
yeah, I'm just trying.
You're on your way.
I'm just trying to do edgy boy comedy. Edgy boy.
Edgy boy.
Such an edgy. You couldn't tell that joke a year ago.
Well, you did it. I knew you would. You're making me feel like.
Yeah. Any chance I had of getting this shared is gone. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
So you're down here. You're in Alabama.
Yeah.
You were in a trailer park, correct?
Yeah, we lived in a trailer park. We struggled financially. I had a single mom. You know, alcoholic dad. Addiction everywhere. I mean, I smoked pretty much every type of drug you can think. Crystal meth. That was me.
That's so remarkable to me. That's so
not who you know.
It's so
at
remarkable
all.
To me that you were just doing meth.
I don't even know how it happened. Well, I do because I live where, that's what everyone was doing. I will never forget in high school, at my high school, people came to school like rolling on ecstasy. It was like we were that town. When you see that that series that was about opiate or what was OCs. Did you see that series? Like how it impacted the small towns in the country and lower middle class. That was us. And I had friends who died, just like in that series. I think growing up in that way, when you hit a certain point where you're just like, no, this is going to be my life, and I can't get out of it. So at a certain point, I was just, and I had been abused, I had been molested, but like 5 and 6 years old, I was sexually molested.
Oh my God.
I carried a lot. I didn't have value, so there was a lot of ways I was just trying to just throw it all away, and just be that thing I didn't want to be, and then sports saved my life as a teen. I ended up getting a scholarship to go play softball at college, and that probably single-handedly kept me out of. It probably changed the course of my life.
So you were molested and you played softball, but you're a heterosexual mother of 4. How do you think that happened?
Won't he do it?
Oh, yeah.
God is good.
There it is. Yeah.
I had a praying mother who found. Who got us in a Northside Baptist in Jasper, Alabama.
You do a whole joke about how mad she was you were watching Dawson's Creek, but meanwhile she's in there, please let him find Dawson attractive.
That was never an issue. As a matter of fact, we've talked about this before. Like some people, when they're molested, it sends them down a path of just being overly sexual and just multiple parts, and like they see value there, right? For me, it did the opposite. I was like, ugh, like ick, which is crazy because I have 4 kids. But
but they're all with the same
guy. I found a guy
which,
that didn't give me the ick.
Yeah.
But yeah. So growing up in that way, I mean, our family went through a lot. So the point of telling you that is that we had been through a lot before that even happened, right? So, once I was married and moved to Missouri, and just kind of like, I think getting pregnant for me also, the second I found out I was pregnant, I only took one more cigarette toke or 2, and I was done. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with everything I'm not supposed to do. I'm done not taking care of myself physically because I need to be good for this baby, and I just didn't want to have kids grow up the way I did, as hard as and I didn't want to be a mom having to work as hard as my mom worked either. So I was very disappointed in myself when I'm walking B2B, doing outside sales, super pregnant. I wasn't happy with myself, but I also had so much purpose because I had babies on the way. So they always have been that thing that gives me purpose. And once we moved, and like I was still kind of in that phase of I've got 2 kids and I just want to help provide financially. I just felt like there was something else I was supposed to be doing. And I'm not saying that motherhood is the best thing you could ever do. I personally just felt like there was a piece of me that was meant for the world, or that was meant for a purpose that was being ignored and being unseen. And I just had that. You ever have that feeling like there's just something you're supposed to be doing? There's more for you. And I had that. I always had that. And then that was around the time that my daughter, or my sister's youngest daughter, was diagnosed with cancer. And it was very unexpected. I mean, they thought she was going to have her tonsils removed. They went to the emergency room, got the x-ray, and then they were told that night she had a tumor behind her facial palate, and it was rapidly growing. And so, I mean, they went in thinking they were going to have their youngest tonsils removed, maybe. It wasn't going to be that big of a deal. And they literally were sent straight to St. Jude in Memphis that night from the hospital. No belongings, nothing, just they helicopter. They had to get her there as soon as possible. As soon as she got there, they went into surgery immediately. And she had like 6 surgeries. They had to give her a trach.
She's how old?
She's 6.
Oh, boy.
She had just turned 6. So it was traumatic. It was extremely traumatic. And I was 6 or 7 months pregnant with my 3rd baby at the time. And I immediately flew to St. Jude to just be with my sister and be with my niece and try to serve some kind of purpose, with them. And even then, and this has been the common theme throughout my life, I couldn't find a single thing that I could do to help with her pain and their grief and their worry and their fear. And I think it was probably the third day I'd been there. And Ansley had not smiled. She wouldn't talk to anyone. She would hardly move. She was so scared, and she was just completely traumatized. And there was a sliding door, and she was in isolation. There was a sliding door in the hospital, and it kept like malfunctioning. And so I just started to fully pretend that it was closing on me, and I full frontal fell into the room. And she cackled. And it was the first sound she had made in days. And the only thing I could do from that moment on was I'm going to make her laugh as much as humanly possible while I'm in this hospital. And that just means everything, you know. And that was the only thing I could do, but it helped her. She perked up. It made her feel better. She started to be a little more, you know, sociable and willing to tell people what she wanted, or, you know, she found comfort in it, you know. And so that was like coming home from that. On my way home from that, I was sitting in my driveway, and I didn't let myself cry or feel anything. I just wanted to be helpful.
Stay strong for your sister, JR.
Yeah. And I mean, as a mother, seeing what my sister was having to go through was just like ripped me apart. So it wasn't until I got home and I was just by myself in my driveway in the car, I just fell apart like completely. I don't think I've ever felt so low in my life. I've never been so like desperate. I felt desperate.
Helpless, probably, I would imagine.
Yeah, and hopeless, and just and also just overwhelmed with like fear. So much fear. And I wasn't praying at all. I wasn't looking for any kind of comfort. I wasn't asking or begging God to fix it or help them or make it better. I wasn't doing that. I was just grieving. It's full sorrow. And everything just got really quiet, and I stopped crying, and I felt just a wave of peace and love. And I just knew that I wasn't alone. And I knew that what I was feeling was the presence of the Holy Spirit. I knew it. There was like, I mean, some people don't understand that, you know, if they haven't felt it. But when you have, there's no denying it. And it doesn't make sense to some people, and it shouldn't, because it's peace beyond understanding. You're not supposed to get it. But he was there with me. And I've never understood what people meant when they said they heard God or heard, you know, I didn't understand like what that would sound like or be like. And really what it was just a thought that I knew didn't come from me. And it was a thought that that made no sense, because I was just sad. You know, I wasn't thinking about anything other than my niece. And the thought that came over me was just let it go. It said, let it go. And I took that as give the grief to him. And I told him in that moment, I said, okay, fine, it's yours. And I said, my life is yours. My heart is yours. I don't want anything from you. I'll follow you. I'm broken. Our family's broken. Everything I'd ever been through. I mean, Ansley was what triggered it. But, you know, everything I'd ever been through as a kid, just, you know, the sexual abuse, the struggles, the situations we were in, abusive situations, physical abuse. Pretty sure one of my grandmothers was murdered. I had a cousin that was murdered. Like there's been a lot, you know. Wow. So all of these things that happened.
Are you related to Hillary Clinton or?
I don't know. I don't know what my mom said about her, but yeah, I mean, it was a lot that we had gone through. And like in that moment though, like everything that I was going through, including the present grief, was what I felt like I needed to let go of and give to him, and let him give me like a purpose, something to do with it. It still didn't cross my mind, like comedy or humor still did not cross my mind, although that was the thing that I always ended up being, was the comic relief in situations. And so then the next thing I heard was the word speak, and I didn't know, no idea what that meant, you know, but I just knew that that's what came into my mind. So I said, all right, I'll do it. I'll speak whatever it is you want. I don't know what you want me to say or what I'm supposed to do with that. And then so that was that, and then it was just every day just trying to make a point to put God first and do whatever I could to help others and be there for my sister and make Ansley laugh. I would send her funny clips and things like that. And also I was a Beachbody coach, so I was doing fitness and all of that stuff. And I would put the humor into the fitness stuff as well. And we had that challenge, and it was a dance challenge. Push it good.
Yeah.
We go way back, me and Push It Good. And I was in the basement working out. That song comes on. It was very authentic. It wasn't planned. I think that's why it went viral. And as soon as that song came on, I did what all mothers do when that song comes on. I dropped the weights and I went to town. I did the choreography start to finish and facial expressions and everything. And kids are crying in the background. And I mean, one of my kids sounded like a dying cat.
Mama's cooking.
No, trust me, people pointed it out. I was like, they're fighting over Caillou. Like, it's fine. But so that went super, super duper viral. And at that point, this was about 2 years after Ansley had passed. So Ansley passed away about 1.5 years after her diagnosis. She was at St. Jude for a year.
Wow, she was a tough girl. She fought 1.5 years.
Yeah. And honestly, that was longer than she should have had with the situation she was in. It was really bad. And, so there's a lot of time that had passed from the moment that I heard that in my heart that I was going to speak and really felt that there was a purpose there. It had been 2 years, but I had trusted that eventually I would know what that meant. And then that video went viral. And so I was like, okay, so there was like, at the time, I think I had 2,000 followers, and it was just I was just trying to do fitness on that page. And overnight, I think I woke up the next day, I had 60,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
From that Push It Good video. And as soon as that happened,
You're the original TikTok dancer.
I guess so. I mean, that's the difference is now it's so wild. Like, people literally have entire plans on how to go viral. I didn't mean to, at all. But I woke up and was like, oh my gosh, I have 60,000 followers. And then that voice popped up again. That was like, speak, and which I, even now I talk about it and it still gives me goosebumps because now I had a platform. Now I had people and I had a place to share our story, and a way to make people who have been through similar things as me feel seen. And also to give them some joy and make them laugh, because to be able to go through all the things we've been through and still be able to laugh is a really big deal. And I wanted to share that, with people.
And this leads us to your first book. And still, I think is probably the most, having toured with you for so long, the most impactful part of your career to this point. I mean, women come up in the meet and greets with tears in their eyes with that book. I mean, that book has, it's not, I know it's going to sound overly dramatic to say this, but it's not overly dramatic to say that book has saved some women's lives. Yeah. Women, I'm sure men have taken a lot from it too, but people that have gone through just irreconcilable and unbelievable suffering find so much peace and comfort in that book. And you I think were able to encapsulate so much, but it's also the book is hopeful too. Yeah. It's not sorrowful, it's very, very hopeful.
Yeah.
And
it'll make you cry, but in a therapeutic relieving way, I think.
So how did the book come about? What made you want to write the book? Was this something you were approached by because you had such a growing following?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd wanted to write a book since I was little. There's pictures of me when I'm like 7 years old on a typewriter on my granny's bed. I've always wanted to write. I like to write. When with a platform comes opportunity, and especially in 2016, of course there were people who had platforms and viral videos, but it wasn't quite as. I mean, it seems like everybody has it now. So the more it grew, eventually I caught the eye of a publishing company, a small Christian publishing company, Barber Publishing. And they asked, same thing that happened with stand-up was, would you like to write a book? And I think those are the moments where it's scary, because I honestly think being successful is scarier than failing. And I just kind of knew if I did it, it could be really successful, but then I'd have to hold that standard, But I had said, when I made that prayer to God, I said, when you present me with an opportunity, I'll say yes. I'll just do it. No more going through the motions of life just because I'm scared. And I always think about Ansley and how short her life was and what an impact that short little life made, and how I want to spend the rest of my days trying to make an impact. And I can't do that if I keep saying no and accepting just average and whatever. So I said yes, and then immediately went to work to just pour my heart and soul into the book. It's all me. It's every word came from my brain. There was no ghostwriter. There's no nothing. It's just straight up me and my computer every day. It had the impact I hoped it would for a lot of people. I didn't realize how big of an impact it had until we were doing shows, and so many women would bring the book and talk to me about it. I underestimate always anything I've done. And She Laughs was the same. So She Laughs came about in the exact same way. As soon as that one was done, it's let's do another one. And oddly enough is the first one, but it's heavier. I would say it's heavier. A lot of people say it's funny, which I didn't think it was at the time, but She Laughs was definitely more revolved around, okay, now this is the bright side. This is the light at the end of the tunnel of what this has led to, and being able to laugh no matter what you're going through, because no matter what, as a family, we were going, I know your family is very similar, is we're going to laugh, probably inappropriately. We're going to laugh at Ansley. Like the night of her funeral, we all went bowling, and played game. Like we tried to sit together, and we seek out laughter as much as we can. Not
just our families, on a broader scale. I think one of the problems in our country over the last 10 years is that, we weren't allowed to laugh. We weren't allowed to find things funny. We were supposed to find things just very
joy suckers,
just very serious at all times. Take this seriously. That's not funny. You can't joke about that. And it's like, well, first of all, I'm Irish Catholic. So the darkest shit in the world is what we laugh about. It'll be somebody's funeral and we'll be like, well, this cheese platter sucks. Thank God this guy's dead. Am I right? That's how we cope with the situation, right? So especially when you're dealing with pain, when you're dealing with personal suffering, when you're dealing with, a tanking economy, when you're dealing with the threat of warfare, when you're dealing with these very, very serious things that we're going through, to then, have the culture try to restrict you from finding humor in any of it. It's like that was COVID particularly was like just soul sucking, man. Yeah. Following, these horrible. We
actually did it. We did a show at Zanies. Last show Zanies did.
Me and you could talk for 2 hours. We only have the studio for a few more minutes here, so I do want to skip ahead to that because you are also, not only are you one of the more talented people, and is your story incredible, and we'll have to do a much longer episode at some point because there's so much to talk about. But you're also brave. Because here you are in the industry, fighting tooth and nail. You've got kids. And this industry, it's cliche to say this, but it chews people up and it spits them out. And the machine gets a hold of you and it dangles your career in front of you and says, do what I say or else.
Yeah.
And here you are with 4 kids during a pandemic, a time of absolute economic insecurity, and you come out and say, yeah, I'm not going to force people to show a passport to come to my shows. Yeah, I'm not going to force people to wear a mask to come to my shows. Oh, I know if you don't like that, well, I'm hugely pro-life. So come see me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have 8 babies. I'll have 10 babies. I'm not.
And it's kind of well known now. Everybody accepts and they understand that Hollywood had a massive left lean, whatever you want to call it. Not that you're political at all.
No, I'm not. I think that's what I struggled with all of that. What I struggled with it was that I have where I stand and I have my beliefs, but I've never been one to need someone else to feel the same way.
No. Not only that, but it's not a part of your set at all. It's
not. No, it's not. I mean,
but you were repped by one of the biggest agencies in America.
Yeah.
And in the middle of a pandemic, when you're selling out in the Midwest, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sunday shows.
With a newborn.
You are getting the most difficult assignments.
Yeah.
And you're passing them with A+. The agency still drops you.
Yeah, and that was coming off of the Baby on Board tour. So I actually was thinking to myself that I was proving myself to them. You know, that I was proving that I'm willing to work hard, that I really want this, that just because I'm a mom doesn't mean I'm not going to work. Mm-hmm. Mac, he toured with me from 3 months to 6 months.
Yeah.
And that tour got done. And I'm thinking I'm about to get some big opportunities because that was a very successful tour. And I'm willing to open for someone bigger than me who it fits. It makes sense. Like, sure. I really thought I might get a chance to open for Liam Morgan because we're so similar. And then I got a phone call that was just like, hey, we're downside, like they were doing the merge and they were letting a ton of people go, and word for word that I was they wanted to focus on their LGBTQ plus acts, and let's be honest, I was never gonna work in LA because I'm a Christian white mama.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. I've seen it happen to so many.
Did they know you were a Cherokee softball player? Like, what
I know,
are we doing
I
here?
was like, you realize I know a lot of lesbians, you know, and they like me still.
Lesbians love you. They don't like my set so much, but they love you. So like you were let go by ICM as they merged with CAA.
Yeah.
Even though you were easily one of the more profitable acts. Nobody knows that, for those that don't know about comedy, easy to make money Friday, Saturdays. Everybody goes out, the clubs sell out regardless of who's there. Impossible to make any money doing a one-off show where you have to fly in, get a hotel, and you're doing a Tuesday night, and you got to draw the whole audience because not a single person is saying, oh, honey, are you bored? Let's go to the comedy club. It's 100% hard ticket sales. And you are selling out, all right, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, the hardest nights in the hardest cities during a pandemic and in a recession, and they drop you.
Yeah, if you ask them, they would say that you didn't actually sell out. You only had like 5 less than a sellout. So, there was always I was never doing it. It was never great. It was never that good.
Never good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like story of my life, you know. Yeah. My first book's called Oddly Enough because it's the story of my life.
Which, oddly enough, if they booked Friday, Saturdays where half of the tickets are sold for the club already, then guess what? Yeah, dude. So, but it just speaks to your character. It speaks to who you are, that during those times, you've told them, no, I'm going to do it my way. No, I'm good. No. We're doing it. We're doing this because it's the right way, right? And so many other people in your shoes would say, okay,
I like girls.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, set me up. And it's and there's a real evil to that because it's all about being controlled. It's about, and I know you take a lot of offense to this, where it's like women aren't funny, but I find I find
it frustrating.
But the fact is that there's a ton of funny women.
Yeah.
They just don't let the world see you.
Yeah.
They let the world see. If you came out there and you were talking about men are evil, suck as much dick as you can, kill your babies, yay, government, you'd probably be on Fallon. Yeah. With your following, with the way you sell tickets, you might be hosting the Grammys if you were on Message. Right? So, I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, it is so remarkably frustrating what you have to deal with. So anybody that thinks that you've had it like easy in this industry, or that, everything's been given to you. You started at Zanies in a sold out show and you do theaters and you didn't grind it out. You weren't doing the Grizzly Pear at 2:00 in the morning in Greenwich Village. You know, like what's her name in Indianapolis? Oh, it's your crowd. Yeah, okay, dude, sell a ticket. That's why you're opening for me, dickhead.
This is why I bring you to every show, so you can be the one to do the hard conversations.
Shut the fuck up. Who invited you, bitch?
I'm not gonna do it.
Hey, how about you make somebody laugh, you fucking unfunny. Anyway. There must be.
You're not gonna comp our parking deck ticket?
This is definitely your crowd. Shut up. Tell a joke, you fucking TikToker.
You know what though? I mean, you give me so much credit, and you're such a great wingman. You're such a supportive person of your friends. I don't know that I would have. I would have stuck with it. It would have been so much harder, and I probably would have took a lot more time off if I didn't have your support and always knowing that you would be there, you know, with me on the shows. And because I would get so...
It's important to remember I'm the hero here, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I needed a man.
Never forget that.
I needed a man.
Behind every talented woman is a more talented man. I think that's John chapter 6, verse 2. No, but you give me too much credit.
But also you drive me around and keep me safe.
Yeah, I'm your security. Yeah, you do need it because you have some crazy... You get some crazy fans.
They love you.
These
crazy. Women straight up molest Gerard.
Yeah, it's too much. They're aggressive.
They're aggressive.
Yeah, the moms get like one night out a year and they get one martini in them and they just think like, you know.
I think I'm getting drunk.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh no, stop,
look,
please.
Is that your pants?
Yeah, but you don't let me have any fun on the road. Like, it's a very strict no fraternizing.
Oh, it's just a normal like. How about you touring with people like doing shows with Callan and like you
Landau.
The range of and then touring with me, how incredibly different that atmosphere must be.
You know what though? It's made your audience in particular has made me such a better comedian because there was a certain comedy that I grew up in and there was a certain style that I liked that I didn't realize was so remarkably harsh to the rest of the world. And
you're a little more cuddly now.
Working with your, but you know what it is? It's funnier. It's a funnier. Yeah. You know, my kind of coming up in the New York comedy scene and all. Like, you don't write to be funny. You write to get a job writing on TV. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like, you don't really care about the audience. You're like, fuck these tourists. You know what I mean? Like,
and you totally brought that energy for a long time, for sure. And meanwhile, I was complete opposite. I was obsessed with making sure if a single person in that audience did not laugh, I was a failure that night. You know, so we were so opposite in that way. And I think I needed a little bit more of what you brought to the table with the not caring, and you needed a little bit more of the
caring
silliness. But you made it a little sillier. You didn't like change your material. You just delivered it less harsh.
Yeah, but also no cursing, trying to cut the cursing out. There's just no reason for it. You know, some of the content, you know, a lot of times, you know, it really did. You helped change my mentality completely. And meeting the people after the shows, the meet and greets was very important too. When you meet the people and you know, they give you such great feedback and you realize like,
our previous manager tried to tell me not to do a meet and greet in the height of COVID when we did that, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, I know.
I'm hugging everyone.
Yeah. The only we can do another hour on what that guy got wrong. But you know, we can wrap up here soon and thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are when you're on the road and how much you get 12 hours away from the kids and this is the last thing in the world you want to do, right? So thank you for your time and for the people that don't know Carolanne, you gotta follow her. She's seriously one of the funniest people on planet Earth, and we'll do some more of these.
We have to. We have so many stories.
We have hours of stories.
So many.
But tell people, you know, what if somebody's you right now, if you could talk to 22-year-old Carolanne who has that feeling, who has that, you know, idea that there's more out there. What would you say to her now, knowing what you know?
For sure, 100%. If there's something that you cannot shake, like if there's something that you've felt like you've wanted to pursue or do, or something that's been on your heart and it's been there and you've just kind of brushed it away, or if there's something you feel like you could be called for, but you feel too small for it, or like it's just not going to be feasible in your life, it's there for a reason. And I think a lot of people walk around wondering what their calling is. That's it. It's that thing. It's that thing that you can't stop thinking about, and that your talents are usually the way that you're able to pour into others, whatever that looks like. So my advice would be to trust it. I mean, obviously for me, it's getting to know who God says you are, because that is the realest, most authentic. That's your soul. And if you know who God says you are, then you have to know that you can do what he says you can do. And if he's set you on a path, he's put something on your heart, then you have to start taking the steps to pursue it, because he will open a door. He will put it there. You have to walk through it, but he'll put the door there. If you're willing to walk through it, he will never stop providing you a path to that purpose. And it will change your life. And you are capable of making an impact in a way that you could have never imagined. So don't let anybody on this earth stop you from trying to pursue something that God has told you you could do.
If you get a chance to see Carolanne Miljavac live, I cannot recommend it enough. There's probably
you get to see you too.
It's probably a better than 50% chance you get to see me with it. You get a 2-for-1. I won't be on the billing for whatever reason. You'll just have to trust that I'm there. But
because clubs hate you.
Clubs hate me. Clubs hate my guts. The honest truth, I think you're one of the absolute best working comics in the world today. I think this worm is going to turn for you, and you've put in the work, and the people love you, and I think industry needs to get on board, and it's just going to take one or two different things for the right people to see you, and then you're going to be a rocket ship all the way to arenas and everything. And I think the most important thing for people to know is especially in this era when you're listening to Kanye going, wow, this is great music, and then 5 years later you have to explain you're not a Nazi sympathizer. Like, you're one of the greatest human beings on earth. You're one of the best people, and if there's anybody that you guys out there could and should support, it's my friend Carolanne. She's fantastic.
Thank you.
You're gonna have to buy the book before the show, because the idiot never has merch. But definitely buy She Laughs.
I will not forget the pickleball paddles, but I will forget my books.
She Laughs. Read it yourself, but also buy it for the women in your life, your mother, your girlfriend, your wife, your sister, your daughter. They should all read the book. It's really, really fantastic, and they're going to get so much out of it.
Do not get it from a Facebook ad. That's not from me. Someone just got scammed like yesterday.
Where should they go to get the book?
Amazon's the easiest, and there's also Audible, read by me. And there's, if you pretty much any bookstore.
If the book read by you is going to have to be put on like 50% speed. Is this Alabama you or Missouri you? Because there's two different yous.
We're on a timeline, and the publishing company needs you to get this done.
Okay,
so
got it. So the great Carolanne Miljavac, tell people where they can find you.
I am comedian Carolanne Miljavac on Instagram, Carolanne Miljavac on Facebook. I don't know what I am on TikTok. Just type in Carolanne Miljavac.
2 A's.
I guess I'm on X because I have the Instagram, but I don't know I don't do anything there.
You're going to love her. Give her a follow. Get her book. Come out to a show. The incredible Carolanne Miljavac. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today.
So excited we did this.
Yeah. The first, hopefully, of many. We have so many more. But just to tell people who you are and introduce them to you in the short time we had today. But, really phenomenal.
Come see us. Oh, wait. It's not going to.
It's not going to be out.
Oh, okay.
Come see us in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
CarolaneComedy.com.
CarolaneComedy.com.
That's where all the tours listed.
Absolutely. I'm Gerard Michaels, guys. Thank you so much. And as always, check out TelyRx.com. That's TelyRx.com. Use code SNT for 20% off. Ozempic, Rogaine, all the other pills and thrills that you need. Creams and dreams. TelyRx.com. Code SNT for 20% off. I'm Gerard Michaels. She's Carolanne Miljavac. This is Gerard versus Evil. We'll try to do better next time.
Everyone's